Welcome to the United States of Small Business, a podcast where the essence of American entrepreneurship is celebrated in every episode. With host John Quick at the helm, join us as we embark on a journey through the heart of the nation, uncovering the inspiring stories of small business owners from coast to coast. Experience the vibrant energy of bustling cities and the serene beauty of small towns, all while discovering how individuals are turning their entrepreneurial dreams into reality, even against the greatest odds. Each episode brings you face to face with the dreamers, creators, and doers who form the economic backbone of our country, all sharing their spirit of innovation and resilience. Whether you are in the early stages of sowing the seeds for your own business, scaling new heights in your current venture, or simply captivated by tales of grit and triumph, you are in the right place. Tune in on platforms like Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and beyond. For deeper insights and to connect with the heart and soul of America's main streets, visit UnitedStatesOfSmallBusiness.com. Subscribe to United States of Small Business with host John Quick now and be inspired by the powerful stories of entrepreneurship, community, and the unwavering pursuit of the American dream. Begin your journey of inspiration with us today.
Welcome back to the United States of Small Business podcast. I'm your host, John Quick. Today, we're joined by Diane Helbig, a renowned business and leadership advisor. Diane brings her extensive experience and unique approach to performance coaching, helping leaders enhance communication and achieve remarkable results. Get ready for insights that could transform your approach to leadership and business growth. So let's dive in. Without further ado, Diane, welcome to the United States of Small Business podcast.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks so much, John.
Well, this will be fun to hear a little bit about your story. Tell us first, take us back. How did you get your start in the entrepreneur consulting world? Give us your story. Everybody's got a fascinating story that's their story. We'd love to hear yours.
Thanks for that. So back in 2005, so my father passed away very suddenly, and it was one of those life-changing moments where I just said, I want to be doing something that has more of an impact on the world. And I had 2 small children at the time, so having more flexibility would be good. And through conversations with people in my world, people who I was close to, I realized that what I should be doing is business consulting, because my whole career had been in small business. I'd been in leadership, I'd been in sales. My father was a business owner and had been a salesperson, and he and I were very close. And so I learned a lot from him. And it was like that aha moment where I just said, okay, I'm doing it. And then in early 2006, I went to the people I worked for and told them that I wanted to change our relationship and become an independent contractor for them. So I could still be making somewhat of an income through commission while I was building my business.
Nice. So how's the journey been? I'm sure there's ups and downs. What are some of those lessons you've learned along the way from starting your own business?
So it's been great. There have definitely been lessons. I think one of the biggest lessons, there are probably 2 that really stand out for me. The first one is to have patience, because even though I know what I'm talking about, it takes strangers, they need the opportunity to figure that out too. So as far as getting certain opportunities, that's just a matter of time and providing information, sharing information with other people and speaking and writing and all of those sorts of things. And the second one is that I partnered with people too quickly before I really knew them and how they operated and if it was in sync with how I operated. And so I had some really good short-term partnership relationships and some really bad ones that did not serve my business or me or anyone else very well.
Well, somewhere along the lines, you decided to write a book. You've had a couple books out there. Your newest one's called Succeed Without Selling. Talk to me a little bit about what inspired you to write this book and the preface for the book for folks that maybe want to go check it out.
Thanks for that. So I struggle with watching salespeople and small business owners struggle with selling. So they either are engaging in behaviors that aren't getting them what they want, or they're not doing anything because they don't want to be salesy. And you have to sell, like on some level, you have to be doing something. And so I had been training people for years on this is what to do. Like, this is how to behave. These are the kinds of things to do. And I just thought, you know what? I'm putting it all in a book, and I'm going to put everything in the book. I'm going to put the forms that I use. I'm going to put a chapter for sales managers, for direct sellers, retail, you name it. Like, if it's something that has to do with selling, it's going to be in this book. So people can take it, find the parts that they need, change their mindset, learn whatever they need to. They can go to my website and download the forms, just I wanted it to be the whole thing so people could really get a better way of operating.
Nice. Do you have a favorite chapter in the book? And if so, why does that one stick out to you?
So I think my favorite chapter is probably the ABCs of sales have changed. And it's because we were taught that always be closing was the way we were supposed to be operating, and it is so not true. And I changed the ABCs to always be curious, because when we're curious, we're not in sales mode. And we learn a lot, and we're a lot more open, and we see opportunities that we wouldn't see otherwise. And so that's probably my favorite, because it takes that whole idea and turns it on its head.
Nice. You've also had the opportunity to speak all over the U.S. at some awesome conferences and big events. What are some of those, highlights or lessons you've learned from speaking at these events and being able to talk to folks, that are really seeking to up their game, whether it's in their corporate career or owning their own business? What are some of the things that you hear from folks as they come to these events?
So that one of the biggest things I've learned is that it can't just be talking at people for any length of time, that it's engaging them in the process and in the conversation, and really finding out at the beginning what they want to learn, what they're challenged by. Because the one thing I've learned is I can have a presentation, so to speak, which is great. At the end of the day, I really want them to learn something that's going to impact them and they're going to take away with them back into their business. And so in order to do that, I need to know what they're challenged by. So typically at the beginning, I will either have them fill out a 3x5 card, or I'll just ask them to give me, how do they feel about the subject? What are, what are the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, whatever it is, so that then I can address those things specifically.
That's awesome. So what's some advice you'd give to folks? There's going to be folks listening into this podcast. A lot of them either are small business owners or aspiring small business owners. What's some advice you give to folks that are maybe hesitant to take that leap of faith and that first step in starting a small business?
Wow. Well, I can tell you what I told my husband when I started my business, and he was very nervous about me leaving a secure job and doing this. And it was two things. The first one was, you have to assume you're going to be successful. That just out of the gate. All right. But the second one is that it's not the last decision you ever have to make. So we get so caught up in this is the thing and it has to work, that our focus shifts to that stress, as opposed to, you know what, this is going to work. I can always change it, modify it, whatever. I just need to lean in and do it. And so it brings the temperature down and calms you down, so that then you can really focus. And another one I would say is make sure there's a market for what you want to do, and that you're going to be able to make money at it, because there's a lot of good ideas out there, but then when you do the math, it doesn't really work. And so don't launch before you've done that sort of homework.
Yeah, do your research is always a good thing to do.
Right.
You get to speak all over the U.S. You've written some books. A lot of folks probably look up to you, but who's been a hero in your life, somebody that you've looked up to, and why?
Well, it would have to be my father. I learned how to sell by watching him. I was fortunate when I was growing up to be able to go with him on some of his client calls. And I got to see how he engaged with his customers and how he always had their interest in mind, and they knew that and they trusted him completely. And he just had a great way of communicating with people and connecting with people on just a human level. It wasn't about the sales. So he probably is the person I look up to the most.
That's awesome. So there's going to be folks listening to this thinking, man, I need to hear more from Diane. Talk to me a little bit about what, a client, when they engage with you on a consulting basis, what does that practically look like? What are you helping, how and what are you helping folks kind of go through and succeed in their own ventures?
Thanks for that. So it depends on what they're going through. So we start with a strategy session where, well, actually, I offer everyone a complimentary 30-minute phone consult. And if I can give you a way to go in 30 minutes, great. But at least it gives you an idea, and it gives me an idea of whether we would work together well. But then when we engage, it's a strategy session, so I can ask a lot of questions, really get to the meat of what's going on, why it's going on, where you want to go. Together, we create a strategy around that. So it could be, you have plenty of clients and a full pipeline, but you're working a lot and not really getting anywhere, or things are falling through the cracks because you're so involved in everything and so busy. So you don't have systems and processes. It could be that you don't have a pipeline, which means you don't have a sales process. So we can work on that. Employee issues. Some people just hire me just to be that sounding board and that accountability partner. So as they're going through their business, they have someone they can bounce things off of. So it's very individual. I don't have canned programs that I make people fit into. I get to know my clients, figure out what's going on with them, and then we work on getting them where they want to be.
Awesome. So do you think the American dream is still alive and well as you're talking to these folks all over the US about their dreams and aspirations?
I'll tell you what, I feel like it is more relevant now than maybe it has been in a mighty long time. I mean, people are launching incredible businesses. That's what always amazes me, is these ideas that people come up with, and then they launch, and then sometimes that idea turns into, then they realize something else, and so they branch off into some additional avenue. It's remarkable to watch. So yes, I think it is very alive and well.
Awesome. So what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you if, they want to hear more? Give us your website and social media handles, all that good stuff.
I will do that. So my website is helbigenterprises.com. Everything is there. And probably the best place other than that, to get a hold of me is on LinkedIn. So it's linkedin.com/in/D Helbig. It's easiest. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/seize this growth. So
awesome. Well, we'll put all those links in the podcast description. 15 minutes has gone by in a flash here. Do you have any last minute thoughts here before we head off?
Another piece of advice I would give people is you can do anything you want in your business. You just can't do it all at the same time. So prioritize parking lot, one thing at a time. It'll be great.
Awesome. Well, Dan, I really appreciate you joining us. Folks that maybe just caught the tail end here, I want to encourage you to go back and listen to the whole thing. She's helping folks achieve their dreams and goals in life, whether it's through their corporate careers or their small business ownership. She has a book out that we're going to put a link in the bio, Succeed Without Selling. I want to encourage folks to go check that out. And I hope everybody has a phenomenal week. And I really appreciate people tuning in and joining the United States of Small Business Podcast. Until next time, I'm John Quick. Hope everybody has a phenomenal day. Thanks, Diane.
Thanks, John.